Hi guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kyra, and here on this channel we are all about real makeup for real life and real people. Today's real life makeup is all about sweater weather. I'm obsessed with sweater weather. It's my very favorite kind of weather. Just the type of weather where it's not too hot, but it's not too cool. A light sweater or any kind of sweater is going to help keep you cozy and warm. And I also am low-key obsessed with sweaters, as you guys may have seen over the years if you've watched my channel. I just love cardigan sweaters. I collect them. I tend to acquire a couple of new ones every year. And so before the end of the video, you will see one of those sweaters. But for me, sweater weather makeup is the perfect makeup for going to a bonfire or having one in your backyard, or going to a football game or watching a football game on TV, or just snuggling in front of the fireplace. It's comfortable, it's subtle, but impactful. So let's go ahead and start putting on some sweater weather makeup. I did go ahead and start my makeup prep with my Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base. So I'm not going to be wearing foundation today. I don't like to wear foundation, if I'm being honest. I mostly wear it for filming or for special events. But the rest of the time, I just like to conceal around my eyes and sort of brighten or conceal the center of the face, which helps with melasma and things like that. And for this, I love to call on one of my favorite and most inexpensive drugstore concealers, and that is the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer. This is the shade 15 Light. This is super hydrating, so you can definitely get away with applying it everywhere and then blending it out. For me, this is like a solid light medium coverage, and so that is the money spot for me because it's not going to look like I'm just wearing concealer. It's just going to look like my skin woke up a little less hyperpigmented this morning. And you should do whatever you feel like you need to do in terms of where to conceal, or if you want to wear foundation. I'm just going to quickly set underneath my eyes with the old standby number 7 Lift and Illuminate finishing powder in light. This is just the one I always use under my eyes, and I wouldn't necessarily have to set my concealer, but today I feel like I need to. For this specific look and the type of activities we might be doing in our sweaters, I felt like the e.l.f. Halo Glow would be perfect. And mostly because it really and truly is translucent. It's not going to leave off any pigment on your clothes or anything like that. It's also not going to take away any natural glow on your skin from skincare. So I really like this powder. I find it to be a very good alternative to like the Hourglass Veil translucent setting powder. For bronzer, I want something a little luminous but not shimmery, not too warm, not too cool, just something that's going to give a light but natural definition to the skin. And I pulled out one that I haven't played with for a while. It's the Clinique Powder Pop Flower Bronzer in the shade Solar Pop. This is definitely a favorite of mine for the very reasons I named, and that is it's luminous a little bit, just ever so slightly, but like in a natural skin kind of luminous way. And I think the one thing that I change up about my bronzer during the fall and winter time is kind of where I place it. I'm more keeping it to the side of my face versus anything in this area. So if you want to apply highlighter, this is where I personally would apply it, but I'm not applying highlighter today. It's not something I would typically do unless maybe it was like a special night out type of sweater weather event. But for watching football, staying home, or sitting outside next to the fire pit, I love this blush for fall. It's always in my ranking of top fall face products, and that is the Clinique Cheek Pop in the shade Fig Pop. I love this blush. And then for me, for this type of a look, I really like to concentrate it starting at the front of the cheeks. I want that rosy, pinched, frosted kind of look, like I am either in the cold or just came out of the cold. So I'm kind of starting it more forward. Use whatever blush feels like sweater weather to you. You know, maybe you feel like more like a mauve works with your cooler skin tone. And then I like to put a little across my nose here. Not really for a sun-kissed look, but again, more of that like, ooh, I just came out of the cold type of deal. So that is pretty much the complexion done. I am going to speed through brows, but I will tell you how simple it's going to be. I'm gonna take my Merit, what do you call, the volumizing pomade. I think it's called the 80s brow or the 90s brow, but this is just a tinted pomade, so it has hold, it has a fair amount of color to define the brows, but it still looks a little tousled, you know, like a 90s brow. Like it looks a little thicker and, you know, not that perfect sculpted brow that I might go for with a different type of look. But first, actually, I'm going to apply my eye primer, because I do like to let it sit for a second. All right, super duper quick, lightly defined. That is all I need for a simple makeup look like this. Next is eyes, and we are using one of my favorite Natasha Denona palettes today, and it is in my Shop My Stash this month as well, and that is the Glam palette. I think we're gonna go a little smoky today, but I'll kind of tell you step by step where you could stop, where you could tweak things depending on what type of a sweater weather event that you're engaging in. I'm gonna go ahead and start things off with this shade right here called Blend. But I would just encourage you to use products that you're super comfortable with, and maybe even think ahead of time what kind of a go-to look you might be interested in doing. Never hurts to have things sort of thought out and have ideas or plans or looks in your back pocket, as I always say. And that's kind of the point of this video, is to not only share with you how I like to do my sweater weather makeup, but also encourage you to sort of start thinking about that. I'm going to take the flat side of this Sigma brush here in that same shade and run that on the lower lash line. And I'm just placing a little bit of the same color on the outer part of the lid, just to give the next shade a little bit of help to blend over top of. And that next shade is this one right here called Smoke. And again, I'm taking the flat side of the brush, and I'm just taking this on the tip. I'm going to start building this up in the outer corner, but I'm kind of doing it in a winged fashion to start, and this kind of just helps to elongate the eye a little bit, give it a little bit of drama. Now it's at this point that you could go a couple of different directions. You certainly could come in with one of the lighter shades in the palette in terms of a matte look and apply that to the lid, or another matte shadow that you prefer for your skin tone. Or you could even just leave it like this, add a liner, mascara, and that is a beautiful yet impactful look based on the fact that you've accentuated the natural shape of your eye. You could also go a lot smokier like I'm going to do, or you could even pick sort of a focal shadow like this. This is the Urban Decay Moon Death shadow in the shade Space Cowboy, and it's really honestly like a beige base with a ton of sparkle in it. I did a look similar to that recently, so I'm going to start things off on the lid with this shade right here, which is the first outer lid shade in the palette. There are multiples named outer lid, so I just kind of like outer lid 1, outer lid 2. So this is outer lid 1. This is sort of a beautiful taupey, charcoaly kind of look or shade. I typically would apply something like this with my finger, especially on the outer part of the lid, but I want to keep it soft. Even though it's smoky, you have to do some cleanup on the sides. I feel like I've come down a little too far. I think one of the best skills to learn for makeup is honestly how to fix things that go awry. You know, makeup is makeup and it's not perfect and things go awry. We're all human. Even makeup artists are humans. And sometimes things don't go the way you plan them to go. So then you have to think about how you might revise your idea of what you originally wanted, or how to fix it, so to speak. I like to go with the Bob Ross school of thought, and it's just happy little accidents. Sometimes it turns out better than what you would think. For the inner part of the lid, I like to lighten things up a little bit. So I'm going to go with this shade in the last row of the palette. It is called Center Eyelid, and it is the last center eyelid shade in the palette. I'm going to pick this up on a pinched fluffy brush, and that is because I want to keep this nice and soft, and it's going to also help me blend over the edge where it meets the deeper shade. And you can tell this is a type of eye look that I do all the time. I think it's the most flattering to my eye shape. You know, you just have to find that for yourself for your go-to look. I love experimenting, but I'm not going to experiment when I have, you know, some place to be, or, you know, I'm trying to go for a specific look. That's why I talk about having certain looks in your back pocket. I'm not going to do an inner corner or anything crazy like that because I just want the eyes to just be simplified today. Smoky, but simplified. I am, however, just going to ensure that my shadow didn't drop down too low. I do have slightly downturned hooded eyes, and so if I don't really make it kind of crisp there, sometimes it can look like I am dragging my eyes even further down on the outside. So what I do is I take my concealer like so. I take a flat square brush like this, and then I come out from the bottom lash line and I come straight out. I don't do like a whoop or anything like that. And then once I do that, I kind of like pull it down using the flat side of the brush, and then I go in with my finger, and that just makes sure everything is nice and sharp. Definitely have some wonky eyelashes today. I don't know how I slept last night, but however I slept last night, I ended up with lashes going every which way. All right, for eyeliner, I'm going for something very deep. My go-to, as you guys know, is this Wet n Wild one. However, it's a little bit more slightly warm than the one I'm going to use today. So this is Simma Brown now, and then this is the McQueen New York one that I'm going to use today. It's the Waterproof Gel Eyeliner Slim Shot in the shade Deep Brown. So I'm just going to take this right up here and just deepen the upper lash line, but I don't want to bring it all the way down and I don't want to bring it all the way in. I kind of stop my eyeliner where I start putting where I have the brightening shade on my lid, and that just keeps the eyes looking nice and open, but also really nice and sultry and smoky. So I think you can probably see that difference between the two eyes. This one just looks more open, more defined. Now for lashes, I'm going to speed through this part as well, but I also wanted to show you what I'm using, and that is the Merit Lengthening Mascara right here in the shade Perfect Black. This is a tubing mascara, but it is really beautiful and natural, but also buildable. So depending on, you know, how smoky I went on the eyes or all of that, you know, it's a really nice mascara. It's very lengthening, which is definitely my jam. And I am going to forego any mascara on the lower lash line. Beautiful. I love the eye look, the lash look. It really made a difference just using that little bit of eyeliner. So I am going to go don my sweater and my jewelry, and then I will be right back and I'll show you a couple of lip options. All right, we're back. I am wearing my sweater and I just feel like I needed a little bit more blush, of course. All right, I'm going to show you the 3 lip options that I chose for today, all with the same lip liner, which is my ColourPop Lippy Pencil in the shade BFF2. It's a beautiful brownie nude shade. For a lipstick, I picked out the NARS. I don't know if this is Audacious or what. It's a satin formula in the shade Tolide. So that is a beautiful, very similar to the blush, basically. Now, if you wanted something more comfortable, less fussy to pay attention to, just something you could throw on probably without a mirror, I definitely recommend the Revlon Super Lustrous Melting Glass Shine lipsticks. This shade is Rum Raisin, which is a well-known shade in their Super Lustrous lipstick line, but this is the sheer sort of balmy version. And then lastly, if you really wanted to go comfy and just have a tinge of a color to your lips, I really love the Bobbi Brown Crushed Oil Infused Lip Glosses. This is in the shade Free Spirit, and again, it's sort of another version of the blush, just a little bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and go with the NARS lipstick. Oh no, she crooked in there. I hope she didn't break off. No. This is just a little mini, by the way. By the way, my hair is a hot mess, so ignore that. It was wash day. It's always a hot mess on wash day because my curl pattern just kind of like loses its mind. But yeah, the sweater is from Target. It is the Universal Threads brand. I have this like oatmeal colored one, and then I have a charcoal gray one, and they're relatively thick. Like this is one that I can go out to the pumpkin patch or something like that. Again, use whatever you have. If you have a favorite sweater, maybe gear your look towards that, or a favorite palette that just feels and cozy when you create a look with it. Or like me, I am always so blush driven. This is the blush that sort of inspired today's look, but the result is always the same: subtle yet impactful, comfortable, and feels like nothing on the skin, and also just perfect to snuggle up with your favorite person, your kids, or a good book and a blanket and enjoy the fall weather. So I hope you enjoyed today's video and found it helpful in some way. Let me know down below, what's your favorite kind of sweater? Do you like cardigans? Do you like pullovers? Do you like a hoodie? I also feel like this look would go just as well with some of my favorite sweatshirts and sweatpants, which may seem really funny to some people, but I love makeup. I love feeling put together whether I'm at home or away. And you know, this is just one version of my sweater weather makeup. Do you have a look like this in your back pocket, or do you have a specific product that feels like sweater weather to you? I'm very interested to know, and I'd love to have you share with all of us down in the comments. Thank you for hanging out with me today. If you did find today's video helpful or entertaining, I hope you'll give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, so that I can see you in my next video. And with all of that said, I hope all of your makeup days are absolutely beautiful sweater. And with all of that said, I hope all of your makeup days are absolutely beautiful sweater weather makeup days, and I'll see you soon.